Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Tira Banachari Sri Sri Radha Madhava Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vers 9, ja? Wir lesen aus dem Srimad Bhagavatam, Kanto 4, Kapitel 2, Vers 9. Shruyatam Brahmarshayo me Shruyatam Brahmarshayo me Sahadeva Sahagnayaha Sahadeva Sahagnayaha Sadhunam Bruvato Vritam Sadhunam Bruvato Vritam Nagyanan Nacha Matsarat Nagyanan Nacha Matsarat. Okay. Warte, tschüss. Spreche ich Englisch, oder? Braucht man nur für Kishorikon. Aber du kannst ja mittlerweile schon Englisch. Musst du mal Englisch lernen. Wegen Amade Chivan und Prabhu. Dann brauche ich ein englisches Bhagavatam. Kein englisches Bhagavatam hier. Warum ist das nicht? Warum ist das nicht da? Ich meine, lese einiges. Good. I will speak the English, Janadan Hari. So is that okay for you? Or for Mother Jivan also? Muss. I will speak the English. Translation. No, word for word. Shruyatam. Hear. Brahma Rishayaha. O sages among the Brahmanas. Me. Unto me. Sahadeva. O demigods. Saha Agnayaha. O fire gods. sadhunam, of the gentle, bruvataha, speaking, vritam, the manners, na, not, agyanat, from ignorance, nacha, and not, matsarat, from envy. Translation. All sages, brahmanas, and fire gods present, please hear me with attention, for I speak about the manners of gentle persons. I do not speak out of ignorance or envy. Purport. In speaking against Lord Shiva, Daksha tried to pacify the assembly by presenting in a very tactful way that he was going to speak about the manners of gentle persons, although naturally this might affect some unmannerly upstarts, and the assembly might be unhappy because they did not want even unmannerly persons to be offended. In other words, he was in complete knowledge that he was speaking against Lord Shiva in spite of Shiva's spotless character. As far as envy is concerned, from the very beginning he was envious of Lord Shiva. Therefore, he could not distinguish his own particular envy. Although he spoke like a man in ignorance, he wanted to cover his statements by saying that he was not speaking for impudent and envious reasons. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangung Langayate Gerim Yat Kripatamang Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swavadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So again the verse, all sages, brahmanas and fire gods present, please hear me with attention, for I speak about the manners of gentle persons. I do not speak out of ignorance or envy. Hare Krishna. Yeah, here it's actually, this is maybe the meaning, or let's say this verse, it could be a source for a great psychological analysis. Because this is quite interesting what Prabhupada says, and also the verse itself, that Daksha wants to criticize Shiva, but he wants to cover his criticism as being justified. And then Prabhupada goes into saying, yeah, there was envy, of course, and he was not aware of his envy either. And this is how bewilderment works. We are trying to justify immoral behavior so that we feel good. We could not do it. We could not do immoral behavior with full understanding of its immorality. This is almost impossible. So some justification must be there that it is okay. Even you know it's immoral, but at least so some slight justification would be enough already to do it. If you would know it's completely immoral, it's bad, you could not do it. So that means, so then we can ask, how is it possible that people act immorally? Because they are not aware of the immorality. They are not aware of the negative act. And even more ignorance is about the reaction of an immoral act. Because if everyone would know what will come back for acting in a bad way, no one would act in a bad way. So also Daksha was not aware what will happen when he will criticize Shiva. If he would have known that he will get a goat's head, he would bite his tongue. He said, I really would like to say it now, but a goat's head is not so beautiful. It's not so. No, now Daksha was very powerful, very beautiful, very impressive personality. He was the leader in this great assembly of the demigods and sages. So he must be awesome personality. He would lose all, and he would know, I will lose all that because a goat's head is quite embarrassing. People are already embarrassed if they have some wrinkle or something. Oh no, I don't want to go into public. If they see my wrinkle, I know it, because if I have something, sometimes I go, oh man, especially in front of the camera. Oh, what shall I do now? So that would be very embarrassing, to have an ugly face like a goat. Okay, some might say, oh, how dare you criticize the goat? Why don't you? It's a beautiful animal. Nah, I don't know. I don't think that goats are beautiful. No, they don't make meh or something similar. They're quite, ugly actually. Goats are ugly, not beautiful animals. Maybe there are some amongst the goats which are kind of, attractive, but in general. So, and then you have a head of a goat. It's not something you want to have. Especially for Daksha. Maybe some humans would say, maybe actually I wouldn't mind, my head is not so beautiful. Goat's head is it's better, it's upgrade, but not for Daksha. No? So Daksha should have known better. Yeah? But he did not. So he was not thinking about the reaction. He felt, of course, he even says, it's not about ignorance. I'm not speaking out of ignorance. I'm not speaking because of envy either. But both were actually true. He was speaking out of ignorance and he was envious. And all that was based on, I would say, on his pride. When we are proud, we allow ourselves anything and everything. Pride makes us think that we can do anything. I'm eligible to do anything. Because it's me. I stand above the law. I can do anything because I'm better than others who have to follow the laws. Of course, you have to follow the laws because it's you. It's just you guys. No, but I'm not like you. I'm different. I'm way better, and I'm not just better. I'm above the law. I'm allowed to do it. Like I'm great. So there comes this anartha. Not anartha. It's not. I don't know if it's recognized as an anartha, but this is this tendency to think, not me. It's not for me. Rules are not for me. Social behavior is not for me. Standards are not for me. No, it has nothing to do with me. I can do whatever I like. Maybe some of you know this tendency. I know it for myself very much. I think, I can do that. Yeah, why not? Because of pride. And because of overestimation of the self. I overestimate myself. Because in reality, I'm most insignificant living entity. How do I know that? Because those who are really enlightened, they speak about themselves like that. Those who are to know the truth, understand their real position, so they know better. So I should learn from their realization when they say, I'm very, very fallen, I'm very low, I'm very tiny, and that's why I have no right to act in an independent way, actually. If you understand that the soul is a part of Krishna, is a servant of Krishna, and his will shall be done, then there is no right for anyone to act outside of Krishna's will. It's quite, this is a sign of pride. I don't have to do what Krishna wants. No, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita and Shastra, we know what he wants, but no, I don't care. I do what I like. I'm allowed to do it. Why? Because I'm not advanced devotee? Because I'm not advanced, I can do whatever I like. If I'm advanced, of course, then I know Krishna's will has to be followed. I have realized, then I will do the right thing. But right now I'm not advanced, so I don't have to do it. It's just for the advanced devotees to be humble and all that. But I'm not advanced, so I don't have to be humble. I can be proud. I'm allowed to be proud. Things like this, might work in our heads. So it's kind of tricky. And it's crazy. It's actually all that. It's crazy. Maya parita jnana. Maya parita jnana means that you are over-intelligent and find ways and loopholes how to be in Maya. Ways and loopholes in the philosophy how to be in Maya. Yeah, and I'm more intelligent. I find a way. So no, now I can be happily in Maya. All right. Yeah. So, but in reality, the soul is bound, of course, by love, not just by conviction. Yeah, Krishna's will has to be done. I will do it. In reality, it will not be a forced submission. We might think in the neophyte stage in our situation, it's a forced submission. I have to do then what Krishna likes, and that will be terrible there in Goloka Vrindavan. Terrible. Everyone has to do what he likes. He's in the center, and everyone has to love him, and it's all about him. How terrible. Where's my freedom? This is hell. Better, what is it? It's better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. Exactly. Better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. This is our philosophy. This is the philosophy of the conditioned living entity. Everyone thinks like this. But it's not like that. The submission comes through pure love, which is based on happiness, on ecstasy, on pleasure, it's just wonderful. The ego is dissolved. All these premature thoughts are just based on the false ego, which cannot imagine the greatness of the spiritual world where everyone abides by Krishna's will. It's hard to imagine. We speculate how it must be from an impure situation, but it's, as we know from all our Shastra and Acharyas, it's so much better you cannot imagine. So it's the submission, the surrender is based on love. The soul wants to surrender. And that means now we should get into touch with Krishna to get to know him, that we are more and more willing to surrender. Krishna says, give up everything, surrender unto me. And it's not one point in time. It's a process. We have to surrender more and more and more and more. But the more we know Krishna, the more we know his worth, that we surrender unto him. That we have nothing to lose. Sometimes we think, I will lose something if I surrender, I give up. Yeah, if we are attached, that's true. When you come to the temple in the beginning and you have long hair, it's difficult. It's quite difficult. Oh, to give up my hair. No, I don't want to lose it. You can keep a bit. It's okay. Don't be so greedy. Give it up. Or give up whatever, right? It's very difficult to give it up, to give up, to surrender, yeah. But in the end, you will see it's to your advantage. Yeah, it's to your advantage. So it's a process. We're working on it. So yeah, back to Daksha. He is quite illusion, and we can learn from him. Actually, Bhagavatam is full of stories of bad examples. I'm not completely useless. I can be used as a bad example. Also a slogan. I'm not completely useless. Huh? I can be used as bad example. So there are many, many stories of, not let's say bad examples, but sometimes, like there are good examples, but of bad persons. Of course, it's just superficial. They are bad. They are not bad in themselves. But there are many stories in the Bhagavatam of how a devotee overcame a problem. He had a problem. He was in difficulty. It was challenging, but he overcomes it. He overcame it. And this is very important for us because the Bhagavatam is not a book full of stories of pure devotees from the onset. Everyone is perfect, everyone is pure, everything is wonderful, everything is great. No, it's more real in that sense for us. And it's encouraging. Oh, see, even those devotees had problems, but see how they mastered it. I have similar problems. Okay, I can master it too. And then we might think, no, it's just, devotees from Bhagavatam, they are exalted. Of course they mastered it. I could not. I have to surrender to my false ego. No, actually the Bhagavatam is, in that sense, concepied? No, concepied? How about you? But how do you translate the word konzipiert? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. In a way that we can learn from these examples. And actually in the end, Daksha, he got the point, he surrendered unto Shiva, he excused himself. So what can we learn from this situation? Yeah, if you get into trouble with a devotee, take the humble position, even if it's difficult, and beg for forgiveness. Have you ever done that? Maybe you can think about a situation where you have done that. I do it all the time because I'm married. As a brahmachari, I did it a couple of times, but now I do it like daily. Because daily there's some. Okay, sorry. It's a good. And in I don't know, in Krsna, in brahmachari ashram, it's similar, of course. It's the same psychological thing. You get into trouble with some other person, be it in any ashram, any person, and then you are kind of hurt. You're kind of you think yourself in the right to be angry with this person. Yes, he did this to me, and now I don't like him anymore. I can ignore him. I can be mad with him. I can talk bad about him. I can complain about him because he did this most terrible thing. And then we have this wall between us. I don't like you anymore. I don't speak with you anymore. And then the wall is not just between you and this person. You actually make a wall around your whole self because your mood is so poisoned. You isolate. It's a kind of an isolation. I know I had it yesterday. There was one isolation situation. I was kind of isolated. No. And my father also told me that in the beginning of my Grihastashram. Yeah, sometimes you quarrel, and then for some time you will not speak with each other. And one person will have to make the first move. It's like this, German is a Patt-Situation. Or like in the First World War when they had the, how was it called? When they had the fronts and they couldn't move any further, right? They were in diesem Schützengraben. They had this, how do you call it? Trenches. Yeah, they were in the trenches and they just shot back and forth, but nobody could really move. It was eine verfahrene Situation. So in relationship you have it, no? So, and maybe both are a little bit fried. So I will not speak to you. I will definitely not excuse myself because it was your fault. And the other one thinks like that too. And then both. You know this, huh? Yeah. But one has to make the first move, especially if you live together in a very small flat where it's very difficult to ignore each other. It's very funny then if you ignore each other. You pass by each other in this small place and don't. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, one has to make the first move. And if one of the intelligent persons makes the first move, okay, I'm sorry. And interesting, sometimes the first move is made with a hidden motive. Because if I say sorry, which I actually don't really mean, because actually it was the fault of the other person, I might get this other person to say also sorry, and then we can talk about his fault. That was his fault. These are kind of often experience. I'm sorry, yes, okay. Okay, I forgive you, no problem. Good, thank you. And then the person waits. And don't you have to say, you want to also say something? What? Are you not sorry? For what? Okay, maybe it's awesome. What was my... Okay, sorry that I was angry at you because you did that. No, you also... and then the whole... Okay, anyway, we kind of discuss it. At least we talk with each other. Yeah. But anyway, I just mean that one person has to make the first move, and when this is done already, a lot is accomplished, and a lot of this wall is already put down, and okay, we talk with each other, and of course we want to get along. Yeah. And yeah, the more intelligent person will make the first move. Or let's say the person who is not so much isolated by the wall, who can get out of the wall, can easier make the first move. Because sometimes you're like in this wall and say, no, I'm too, this was so terrible. No, I don't want. It's very difficult to be now loving and kind and nice to each other. So Daksha was very convinced that he is right. I have every right now to criticize Shiva. Because he is, and he will tell us then what he thinks he is and what makes him qualified, eligible, justified to speak all that. He said, Shiva is all that, so how can I respect him? And on top, he was ignoring me. I come into this assembly and he ignores me. He confirmed his low personality, his disqualification. He confirmed it. I always thought about it that he is all that, and now everyone can see it. So there was something going on before, right? It was not starting in this situation. We will hear what he will say. That was all. He was thinking all along like that. And now it comes out. And of course we learn from this story also to not criticize devotees, especially not advanced devotees. This will be our destruction, as Daksha's destruction came about. It's very bad. The worst thing is to offend a Vaishnava. We know. But sometimes you might come in a situation where now you think, oh no, of course not, never ever, how could I? But you might come in a situation where you get, even with devotees, and as it said, familiarity breeds contempt. How is it possible that some devotees criticize Prabhupada? Now we think, oh God, no, could never happen. But yeah, somehow or other, they became bewildered by whatever, and they criticize Prabhupada. How could he criticize this or that devotee? How could Shiva be criticized, right? Yeah, it can happen. Maya is so strong, ego is so strong, pride is so strong. Yeah. So we have to cultivate this humility to see devotees as more advanced than us. And this is difficult. It's difficult if you cannot see it. For devotees it became sometimes a problem. They could not see it in Prabhupada. And they criticized Prabhupada in a slight or in a bigger way. In a historical situation where one devotee of his, Nitai, he criticized Prabhupada heavily. Also in the later times then. And we think, how is it possible? I could never do that. Yeah, because you have and we have a very nice vision of Prabhupada, so we would not dare to. We are kind of protected. But this can get changed. So we have to be very careful. How could they criticize Prabhupada? Yeah, they were not always like that. They were holding Prabhupada in great esteem, but somehow or other they got bewildered, they became critical, they became proud, they heard whatever, and they felt justified to criticize Prabhupada. So, of course, we should not criticize anyone in that sense. Why are we criticizing other devotees? Because we don't see them in the proper way. We should see them in a similar way, not of course the same way, but in a similar way as we see Prabhupada or Guru or any devotee whom we hold in highest esteem. And the more advanced we are, the more we can see any devotee in this way. And not just devotees, actually any living entity even. You can see the soul, the super soul in any living entity. You're even humble in front of an ant. Very hard to imagine. Oh, my respectful obeisances. I have ants now in my flat, so I don't deal with them like that. They are terrible little creatures. They are raiding my place. And I'm in a war right now, but I fight with natural weapons. But I don't know if I will not upgrade if the nature doesn't work. Because you have ants everywhere, it's not nice. Huh? I try not to kill them. I don't kill them. But what will you do if you get overrun by them? Oh, my humble obeisances, take whatever you like. Take, the fridge is open for you. Here is the fridge, no problem. So, of course, in that situation, it's a bit difficult. But the thought is at least kind of a romantic thought. Oh, Hare Krishna, my dear aunt. Very nice. But these little creatures, they misuse your humility then. Okay, so yeah, offer obeisances. Where's the fridge? Little rascal. No, I'm not humble anymore then. Humility doesn't mean always that, right? It is also artificial. Huh? We have to deal in a proper way with any person. But just the thought that we will not harm anyone in an unjustified way, unnecessary way. But anyway, back to devotees. Yeah, once I heard a statement by Gaur Govinda Maharaj where he said something like, advancement means that you think anyone more advanced than yourself. Everyone is more advanced. And we know it's difficult because sometimes I see devotees and it's very hard for me to see how they're more advanced than me. Not that I'm advanced, but it's very difficult. I search for a good the quality, you know. Maybe I find something. Maybe I don't search hard enough, but sometimes I don't want to, you know. Okay, maybe I should search a bit more in a humble way, but isn't it? It's very difficult. Very difficult. Sometimes you don't want to see that someone is more advanced than you, because you would have to be then humble, think in a nice way about him, behave nicely, maybe even serve him. I think, man, this guy, you know, this guy. Okay. Yes, he chants Hare Krishna. I guess Krishna likes him. I could imagine Krishna out of his unlimited mercy likes him. No, of course, Krishna loves him a lot. He likes him more than me, definitely. How could I think like this? But anyway, sometimes we have a little tension in ourselves, right? At least tension is there. Tension means, okay, you fight the wrong thoughts, right? This is already good. And try to overcome them. But sometimes there's no tension, we don't fight them. Yeah, we think, this guy is just off. He's just off. Okay, he chants Hare Krishna, Krishna might like him, but still, this guy is nonsense, just nonsense. You look in a shocked way at me, so you have never thought like that? Sorry. Maybe in a more intense way, sometimes not in such intense way. But anyway, we have to be humble, think everyone more advanced than ourselves, be nice, overcome our pride, overcome our ego, overcome these tendencies, and just be kind and nice. And please Krishna. Krishna wants to please you to think about this weirdo in a nice way. This is just my ego that lets me think he is so weird. He's just different. Different than me, right? And maybe I'm the weirdo anyway, because we are different. I'm different, so maybe it's my problem. And that I go along with all the nice people and cool people does not confirm that I'm cool like them. And that he's the weirdo. Maybe, I don't know. It's very difficult. Very difficult. Yeah. Humility means be a servant of everyone, think everyone more advanced, and if we are serious, you will find some good qualities, and you will find qualities, and focus on them, think, wow, he has this wonderful quality, way better than me, and I don't look at the other things, and so I can respect him, so I can be nice to him, so I can like him, so I can think in a nice way about him, and feel good about this person. It's possible. It's the greatest enemy even. It's the greatest enemy this is possible. Yeah. So, anyway, I think this is what I wanted to say in this regard. A lot to learn. And this is why the community is so important. All that is very difficult if you live alone. We have to get to know devotees, and we have to get to know each other. Isn't it? If you just see us, then many things will get revealed in ourselves also. Because many people, they see me only on the screen and they think this is how I see him now and how he behaves now. This is how he's always. Right? Because of course in front of camera I behave very nicely. And you think, wow, he's so wonderful. He's always so wonderful. Always when I'm on the screen. So they only know a very small fraction of myself. They know only 9 to 12. Ja, 9 to 12, ne? Format. So there's way more behind any smiling face. So, and I might think, yes, I'm always like that. I'm so wonderful. So, and in relationships, sadhu sangha, especially sadhu sangha means in association of sadhus and guru. Yeah? There many things get revealed. We are put into perspective, into relation, right? In front of kids, I might think myself very great and intelligent. But amongst adults and intelligent people, I see, oops, maybe I'm not so smart. Yeah. As my guru says, in the absence of big trees, small trees become prominent. So, and when you're in the association of advanced devotees, you must, of course, as we saw, the pride makes it possible to think in a weird way, but in general, in the association of advanced devotees, I can see where I am, who I am, what I am, and should I behave in a nice way, properly. Okay, Hare Krishna. I actually don't have too much time now. Good for you. I will stop now. So, any questions? Anything to add? Yes.
I just read recently in a book called Stories from the Kurma Purana. Something sounds to me very strange.
Yeah.
So I would like you give me some explanation behind it. It's a short sentence.
Yes.
Very short sentence. One should not practice yoga in a noisy place. I understand. A place infested with mice or rats. That I understand. A crematorium, I may understand also. A Buddhist temple.
A what?
A Buddhist temple.
Buddhist temple. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Why? Why?
Why not meditate in a Buddhist temple?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Why not meditate in a Buddhist temple or practice yoga? As they say, one should not practice yoga in a Buddhist temple. Why? Warum?
This is a big topic. But first thing comes to my mind is the tension between the Vedic tradition and Buddhism itself. And Buddhism is antagonistic against personalism. Buddhists don't have a personalistic understanding. They don't have God anyway. So if you want to practice yoga, if it's just a meditation and I sit in a Buddhist temple and I'm not interacting with any Buddhists and I'm not maybe looking at or studying their scriptures, in one sense it doesn't matter where you meditate. But still, for a neophyte practitioner, even the surrounding and setting is influencing his meditation. And it's definitely better to chant Hare Krishna or meditate in such a setting, a Vaishnav setting, where everything is geared towards a personal realization, than to meditate in a situation where everyone cultivates suicidal consciousness, as Prabhupada says. Buddhism and all that, it's spiritual suicide, because they want to merge, not just merge, they want to dissolve themselves. The highest is the so-called nirvana, which is an state of shunyavad, of shunya, of zero-ness, of nothingness. And we know that consciousness of a person is affecting the atmosphere. Actually, it's true. It's true. So that's one thing, the subtle influence of a Buddhist temple, I would say. And the other definitely is the exchange you might have with Buddhists. And this is not conducive for spiritual consciousness, especially when it goes into argumentation and all that. Actually, a devotee who is trying to become, let's say, Krishna conscious, he should have a Krishna conscious mind. And interaction or even argumentation with others is only for, as we say, preaching. So idle discussion is a disturbance for the pure consciousness. Right. So I can understand the statement from a Vaishnava perspective. From a Vaishnava perspective, it makes complete sense. You should not practice Vaishnava rituals, meditation in a place which is a complete different tradition and which might affect you or influence you or even maybe distract you from your path. So this is the tension between Vaishnavas and Buddhists. And I can see such a statement in Shastra because there is a lot of campism, right? Campism. There are many traditions and sometimes they are in great opposition to each other. And there might be statements in Vaishnava Shastra or Vedic traditions which really speak in a bad way about other traditions because they have a long history with each other. So it's a big topic, I would say, but in general, I wouldn't like to meditate in a Buddhist temple. Why should I do that? Right? This is their temple, they should do there whatever they like. So I can understand the statement. But if you like to meditate in a Buddhist temple, you can ask them if you can meditate there. No problem. Depends also on what you meditate. Yeah. Maybe they even want you to meditate there. That can also be. It's not just from your point of view that, oh, maybe it's bad for me, maybe it's bad for them. They don't like it. They say, what are you doing? Why are you chanting Hare Krishna in our Buddhist temple? Get out of here. So in general, every tradition has to be kind of stay loyal to its tradition. It's unfortunately like that. Syncretism works only. It's difficult. Really, it's very unfortunate. It's the situation in the material world. There are camps. We have to see what is my camp and I stay loyal to my camp. And intermixture has to be done in a very wise way. Very difficult. We can see in the whole world history. Fractions, so many different camps. And also in religions we have the same thing. There should be respect for each other, but not unnecessary exchange, which might lead to discussion and to quarrel and even to war. You can try it. Be friend with someone who thinks completely different than you. Try it. It works if you don't have a too close relationship. The closer the relationship will get, you will quarrel. It's impossible to avoid. Right? Yeah, so that's what I would say to that. Okay, anything else?
Just a comment, Prabhu.
Yeah.
And then a question probably afterwards.
Yeah.
I think. Offering respect to others, expecting no respect for oneself. Yeah. That's nice, but then we have the issue of we're dealing with the practical realities, day-to-day running of a temple, etc.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that in a practical sense, we should always see the person as in authority, because Daksha was essentially challenging the authority of Lord Shiva, was it not? Because it wasn't just...
We could even say Shiva was challenging the authority of Daksha, because Daksha was put in the situation of being the leader of the whole thing, and everyone should behave in one sense properly towards him, and Shiva was also ignoring that. He had a higher principle in one sense. Also you could say Shiva was offending him also, because he should have gotten up, what's the problem? But he chose not to, definitely not of false ego, said just because of his higher spiritual realization. But it can be also seen from that point of view, just to put in this.
Yeah, no, that's very good addition there, because that sort of goes to the question, furnishes the question a little more, and that is, or the situation rather we were analyzing, and that is that if devotees are treating each other with the greatest respect, then there won't be any arguments. So on the one hand, there won't be arguments, but still the practical order has to go through as to whatever that is, cleaning the temple, whatever the order is. So is it not that we should then see, regardless of the advancement of the devotee, my understanding is that we're supposed to see that authority as a role that's being played. Like in theatre, they're playing a role. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person has, just because I'm more advanced, doesn't mean that I then get to override, right? Because it's just a role that's being played. So I just thought perhaps you could add to that in that, and once that person steps out of that role, they no longer have that authority. There's no need to. So I think it was quite fitting that you mentioned that, you know, Daksha was in a sense playing that role as well.
Yeah.
But on the day-to-day thing, running of a temple or day-to-day interactions with other devotees, we can apply the Rupa Goswami Krishneti Yasya Giritam. No, what is it? Sorry. Rupa Goswami. Shat Krishna. No.
You mean this?
So, offering respect in the mind to one who's chanting Hare Krishna, offering obeisances to one who's undergone diksha and is worshipping the deity, and one who is faithfully serving that pure devotee who's advanced in undeviated devotion and whose heart is devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So I just thought if you could give us a quick analysis over that, because I just think that's the core issue of this whole
very good points. You say one person is an authority, might not be that advanced, another person spiritually more advanced but not in the position of authority. The person who is maybe more advanced than the person authority shows his advancement by respecting the position of authority. Definitely. He has no issue with this maybe neophyte devotee acting as a manager. And he will say, Prabhu, you are the manager, what can I do? And if he says, oh, he's not more advanced, I will not take any instruction by him because I'm more advanced, then he is not advanced actually. This is his ego. If I'm advanced, I understand the system, how it has to be, and that it will work for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of Prabhupada, for the Guru, and I will support him. I'm his servant. Okay, you are the temple commander. What can I do? Yes, what is my service for this week? Great. And I do a service which is for Krishna. What's the problem? So if someone is rebelling against the authority, this is already a sign of being not advanced, because he should be humble and support the whole services normally, right? So we should actually really everyone should respect the authorities like anything, like a temple president or a temple commander or the head puchari. These jobs are extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. And we should be, just that a devotee is bereit, is ready or willing to do such a service, become temple president. This should be already respected like anything. Of course he might make mistakes, and sometimes he might treat someone or you not in a way you expect, but you say, he is the president, he's a right, it's okay. And in Vedic times it was seen like that, he's the king. And this is why they had also more rights. They had even more pleasures, more sense gratification, big palace, they could drink at times, because they had so many responsibilities and duties, which the Shudra does not have. Not that those who are not temple president now we are Shudras, but I just say in this setting. So I highly respect you for being temple commander. I did it also sometimes, and I know it's extremely difficult. And that someone takes care of that, and then you will, you will never make it right for anyone, and this is very difficult. Or temple president. I've been only very short temple president, but in general I was never temple president because I never wanted to. I thought, no, I don't want to do it. This is too much. I could have, probably, but I did not because. So I respect the president, especially those who do that. So please, everyone in the temple, definitely help these devotees. It's not that they are in your case if they tell you, could you kindly please do this service, clean the pots. He is not on the case, he just needs dass der Laden läuft. And then you say, no, I don't do that. What's that? And of course he has the right then maybe to be angry and say, come on, please do it or force you. I understand it. I would do the same. I would say, come on, I'm in a situation of authority. I have to make this run. Why are you arguing with me? Please just do it. How dare you speak to me like that? What's that, So everyone should really support the authorities and make their life easier and make your life easier, because if they get anyone to do the service, it will not be clean, there will not be nothing to eat, the finances will not work out, and suddenly it's cold or the light is not there. Was hat Oliver Kahn gesagt? Du sollst nicht denken, was das Team für dich tun kann, sondern was kannst du für das Team tun? Der große Oliver Kahn. You should not think, what can the team, the temple, do for me? You should think, what can I do for the temple? And unfortunately, I have to say, there are a couple of devotees at times here who really think, what can I get out of here without investing? It should be definitely the other way around. How much can I give? And my giving should be bigger than my taking. Logic. So there is also some pride there. Okay, I don't have to do that. They will do it. I just take. Yeah. You wanted to add something?
Yes, thank you very much indeed for that. Thank you very much indeed for the
but I know your frustration, because I remember when I was a brahmachari, sorry to say, but you work yourself up, you work so much, and then you see sometimes these devotees, of course they're devotees, but you say, man, why is he doing like this, But some are quite limited, and they cannot be selfless enough, so to say. Yeah, okay, sorry.
And conversely, there might be a problem with we think that legitimately that, for instance, the temple commander has done something wrong or is unreasonable or out of line. These are difficult situations in ISKCON, and it'd be nice, I think, if we go into the dirty places, So, for instance, there might be an issue where you legitimately feel like you've been mistreated, or one feels like one has been mistreated.
Of course.
So what Prabhupada, to my understanding, is that Prabhupada got the devotees together to work it out, which seems obviously the best way of doing it. But what does one do on the theme of Daksha and Shiva? What does one do when it's an authority figure? What would be your advice in that particular situation, in that it's not so easy to get together with that person? What would you advise?
Of course, that what I said has to be seen also in the proper light. Of course, there can be mistreat by authority and all that. Right, of course. This should not be now a blank card, so to say, for the authorities. I can do whatever. Of course, it has to be all in the right measure. And if there's a problem with authorities, as in the story with Shiva and Daksha and all that, they went to Brahma, they went to another authority, talked with him, and get help, right? So you need then someone who can solve the problem. Mediation, naturally. Someone who has the power, the intelligence, the influence to do something, to help. The purity and also the fairness, to be not partial also. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Okay, short question and then.
What we call authority, police, of course, is included in it. And I would like to give you the information that the Hare Krishna of Stuttgart, where I used to visit them quite a few times, at the time I was working outside a few years ago, has been kicked out by the police.
Who has been kicked out by police?
The Hare Krishna of Stuttgart, near not too far from the train station.
There was
I come visit them again just before to come to your your center, and the neighbor told me they are not existing anymore. They have been kicked out there.
Oh, there was a temple. There's a temple in Stuttgart, and
with a
they
group
got
of
kicked out.
Maybe 15 people or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the situation was. Maybe it was justified, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know the details.
Now,
what can happen?
We don't know whether that was
It's a Gaudiya Math temple. It's a Narayan Maharaj temple in Stuttgart. It's in Cannstatt.
Now,
Cannstatt, huh?
yeah.
Cannstatt.
What we call authority is a system in which we are living in this so-called civilization. For me, it's not a civilization, so-called civilization. And it is based on the system of the right.
Yes, of
le
course.
droit, das Recht.
Yes, yes, yes.
With such a system, it is sure that it is a civilization is going to go straight to its self-destruction.
Yeah.
Because the right, or das Recht, is something where the laws of Dharma has been totally reversed, and laws of nature also.
Yeah. Thank you for your comment. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.